Hello everyone and welcome to the Centre for Computing History on this rather quiet afternoon. But being a nice quiet afternoon, we get to show you around our main gallery. Some of you might not have seen it for quite a while. We've got one or two new additions out here. So starting off with our flight cases. So these beautiful looking colourful things here. They have come from our exhibition at the Grand Arcade where we had our first celebration of 30 years of the internet. And then gaming generations for a whole year. And now those exhibitions are over, so we're able to bring some of the flight cases here to be used. And that's given us the chance to get a few nice machines out of our collection. So we're normally ensconced away over in our second building, hilariously titled the Cash Store, and wonderful things like our torch machines here. So, of course, there's a big part of Cambridge's computing history. What we've got in here is basically a BBC in a very, very posh case, built-in screen, a keyboard that you could literally kill someone with, very, very heavy, all metal, beautiful construction, down to our lovely little XXX machine here. It did used to be over in the other corner. We'll go and see what we've put in that corner a little bit later. So yes, there's our XXX machine. It's a Unix workstation, no less. Don't think we had too much out from Unix, which we've had to really put right. And then one of my personal favourite machines in the collection is on our green podium here. So this is the Tycom Corporation Microframe. Now, I don't know if we can actually see on the camera here, it's construction, but it looks like a stealth bomber. Look at that design. It looks like radar just wouldn't pick it up. It's immensely strong, immensely heavy, and it's normally over on the in the cash store up in our mezzanine area. There'll be more on this coming up, but later in the year we're having some work done on our second building. The roof really needs replacing, so we're bringing some of our far more precious machines over here out of the way, and this being one of them. So this was a machine, it could have one of three boards put in. So a Z80 board, I'm reading all this off of here, a CPM board, and a Xenix or 68000 board. So you could do an awful lot with this machine depending on what computer system you were used to. One little note with this as well, that the guy who was running the company, whose name escapes me at the moment, he actually had to hire someone, a sir of the realm, to head his company because no one would take him seriously, being as young as he was. So yes, that's one of my really favourite machines, and actually takes two people to lift it over here. Next to this, another piece of the Cambridge story. So we've got our RISC PC here. This is I believe, RISC PC 600. And you'll notice none of these machines are switched on. Well, at the moment, we've really got to do some work, make sure they're completely okay to be switched on. And also, being a relatively new area, we've got to work out how to get power to it safely. So we've got those considerations. So these machines are here, but tantalizingly switched off for the time being. So yes, the PC 600, so a RISC PC would have run the strong ARM configuration. Again, I'm just reading this off of here. 1994. Got a good few of these in our collection, but we used to have one over on the at the end of the timeline over there. I believe it is this machine, but this is the thing with a museum. You've got to keep it fluid, keep it interesting. Things have to move around. And this was one that for quite a while went off into storage. And then next to this, we have the eMac, another fantastically heavy machine. This one was down at Gaming Generations. It does actually work, but again, we just haven't been able to get power to it as yet. So hopefully you'll come in at one point and you'll be able to see all these machines working. Right, let's take a look around the other side. Okay, so here we are around the other side. Some more of our lovely flight cases, and the idea behind these as well is that if we need this big area here for if we ever do any of our big talks where we need to get 100+ chairs out. We had a celebration of the Leo project here at the museum, which we'll hear more about in a little while. We can actually get an awful lot more chairs here take the brakes off, wheel him around the corner, and we've got a lovely big space for seating. On this side though, we've got some of our lovely apricot machines. So first one here being the Acorn Portable, with the best case ever for a portable machine. Look at that, absolutely amazing. And actually take out the machine, there it is. And it ran a graphic user interface, not unlike the early Macs. So they're obviously looking quite closely at their rivals. Got an infrared keyboard here, apparently would work 4 meters away from your keyboard as long as you've got nothing whatsoever between them. Next to this is one of my favourite looking apricots. So this is the XI or Xi wired keyboard. Again, got its own little display. Lovely jet black colour, and I believe this one actually does have a hard disk in it, 20 meg hard drive. These probably won't get turned on too much because they run office software and quite static software, and the monitors actually burn images onto them quite easily, so we might not do too much with those. Next to the Xi here we have the Apricot F1. Look at this lovely little thing here. So everything's just beautifully small. So there's the unit, 3.5-inch drive. It ran a version of Microsoft DOS, but wasn't fully DOS compatible. I've never quite worked that one out, but we've got this little wireless keyboard. So I just love these things, put batteries in them, and we've actually got a donation number on the bottom there, so we know where it came from even. So yes, put batteries in the bottom there, and you were not limited by the wire on your keyboard. Now, Dan and I got fond memories of the next one here. So this is the Tatung TPC 2000. And a gentleman named Bill called us one day and he said, I've got this Tatung machine. Would you like it for your museum? And we were like, oh, we've got absolutely loads of the Tatung Einstein over there. We don't need any more. And he said, oh, no, it's not called an Einstein. He said it's like a word processing PC type thing. And we were like intrigued. So we took the chance. He was up near Hunstanton. So we thought, well, you know, we could go for research and see what arcade machines still exist in Hunstanton, whilst also going to take a look at this machine. And when we got to his house, this was in the hallway, and we've just never seen one before or since. This is literally the only one we've ever seen. Very little information about it. If anyone out there has got any information on a Tatung TPC 2000, please do get in touch with us, because it's a little bit of a mystery to us. We know for sure it is a CPM machine, and the guy, he ran his haulage business with it the whole time he had it, which I think was since 1985 till we collected it back in 2021, I believe it was. And then next to this, we've got a good few of these at the museum. I do love the look of these. So this is one of our Sirius systems. Causes lots of hilarious jokes. Dan will be behind the camera laughing as I say they're a serious bit of kit. He's genuinely not laughing. Okay, well, basically another CPM type machine. They had ones that were badged Victor for the UK market. Again, beautifully solid keyboard. They usually suffer a lot of problems now, particularly with hard disk controllers rather, and the like, but we are very, very lucky to know some of the people that we know. So we have a gentleman, Adrian Graham, or Binary Dinosaur. Go and check out his social media and all this. He has the largest private collection of machines in the country, and he actually fixed up 3 of these Sirius machines for us, including this one. And it has got a very hopeful mains cable hanging above it, so this will be one of the first ones we actually power up, and people will be able to come use an office machine of the early 80s. Okay, so now we'll have a look at one of our rarest machines that we've had donated in the last year, which is just over there. Okay, so we have a few of these machines. We have the ABC 24. We also have the later Octopus machines that were brought over by the same company. and this is the ABC 26, so it's in lovely condition. I don't know how many of these exist in the world. We haven't seen any other ones. So this is a giant word processor, although they did have AI DOSKET as their operating system. Machine comes from Japan. They were brought over by a gentleman by the name of Paul. We'll be hopefully having an interview with him at some time about these machines. He also brought over a lot of the Octopus, or looked after the marketing for the LSI Octopus. And these basically, they undercut the IBM machines enormously in price. So when they went to trade shows, they really weren't very popular when they turned up with these machines. Great big 8-inch drives. It was stored in the garage for an awfully long time, so we don't know if we'll ever have this up and running, but we've got all the software for it. And we've been able to get our wonderful volunteer, John, those discs to John, and he is our go-to guy for copying even the most damaged discs. And he was able to retrieve all of the operating systems and everything else for these machines. So another reason why our volunteers, I believe is this still volunteer week, or was that last week? But basically, we can't do much without our volunteers. They're an absolutely fantastic bunch, and very lucky to have John with us to copy discs for us for these rare machines. Okay, so in the middle of the room here, we've got the beginnings of a display we're starting to put together for ICL. We've never historically here at the museum had an awful lot of ICL machines out. They've never been in the best condition, the ones that we've got. So we've always had the one per desk here. So this is based on the QL technology. And they went into like banks and places like that for them to do their caching up and things. The one I'm stood next to here is the ICL personal computer, and we have got the machine just donated in, which we'll show you at another time when we've got it nice and stable, which is a rare computer, which is RAIR, and that is basically the identical machine to the ICL personal computer. ICL took the design and turned it into this lovely machine here. ICL basically were the amalgamation of all kinds of other UK computer companies. They all merged together under one roof in 1967. Turned out not to be the best idea in the world. The idea was they were going to compete with the big American companies like IBM, and it didn't really work out that way at all. So ICL was to continue for a great many years though, up until 1996 when they were finally bought by Fujitsu. And we were often asked in the olden days, you know, why you haven't got an awful lot of ICL stuff out? Well, unfortunately, when Fujitsu took over the company, that's where they said ICL's history was then going to start, and it kind of led to pretty much their history being largely erased. They had a library and basically a little museum set up, and this was unfortunately largely swept away. But we're lucky to still have some machines here, like our ICL terminal here, and even down to some engineer's reference book. So we hope to tell the story of these companies, so General Electric, Ferranti, Marconi, ICT and ICL, and hope to go through the whole scope of their historical story. So now what we're going to do is we'll go and take a look at a very important project we've been doing at the museum for the last few years, and that is to bring into public consciousness the story of the Lions Electronic Office, or the LEO. Okay, so here we are in our LEO area, or our Lions Electronic Office. Very, very important project we've been working on. Must thank the Faculty of Asian and Middle Eastern Studies over the other side of Cambridge for these wonderful podiums that they gave us. So they enable us to really showcase some of our exhibits here. So yes, they are at the moment full of LEO exhibits. So we've got a couple of the LEO tape reels and one of the LEO 2 test valve racks in that one there. In the next one, we've got a giant piece of core store, plus explaining a little bit what core store does. And then we've got the Saxby clock from a LEO 3 in this one here. There's only thought to be one LEO 3 left anywhere, no LEO 2s, and certainly not the LEO 1. So there's one up in a museum in Fife in Scotland where they have got all the cabinets but nothing else. I'd love to go and see that one day. It'd be absolutely fantastic. But for those that don't know, Leo is the world's first business computer, or the Leo 1, switched on in 1951, and it ran the whole of the Lions empire. So Lions, they had tea shops, they had bakeries, they sold cakes in shops. They were like the Mr. Kipling of their day. They brought over Wimpy in the early 1970s, so that's the only part of the empire left. It's the few Wimpy stores that still exist. But it's been a very important project, so it's been financed, or we've had backing from the Heritage Fund, and basically we've taken on the archive of the Leo Computer Society. We brought it all into one place, and documents have been scanned, and we've been able now, especially on our Leopedia on our webpage, go and have a look at it. You can find out everything you ever needed to know about these really, really important machines. But the most magnificent thing of all is over here, worked on by our very own Chris Monk, works with us here in education, and his son, who have come up with this absolutely amazing reconstruction, virtual reconstruction of the Leo machine. So we can walk around the whole room as it was in Cadby Hall, scaled absolutely perfectly. That's the valve racks over there. Here's the operating desk, I believe, over here. And yes, there it is. The operating desk there. And all the printers and everything else. Got a box of punch cards. We've got this printer there. Test engineers, there's its memory down in the floor, its mercury tubes. And then we can come down here and we can have a look at all the aspects of the machine. That's the virtual oscilloscope, which can be seen over here behind me. And then we can walk through to the engineer's console. Loads to read up on this machine. Everywhere where there's a little arrow there, you can go and get information about that particular part of the machine. So it's an absolutely amazing, come and have a go with this. Is absolutely brilliant, and all part of a very, very important machine. So that is our Leo area. We've also got information on the back here. We've got our display cabinets at the back here with some of the surviving fragments of the Leo machines, of which there isn't a great many, sadly. Okay, so that's our first look at some of the things that have changed in the gallery, particularly since the pandemic. We are open still 5 days a week, Wednesday through to Sunday. Do come down and see us. We've got lots to see and do. We'll do another couple of videos to show you some of the other new additions, particularly through in our larger section, the dawn of computing, and through in our deck area, where we've got a couple of nice exciting machines that have arrived in the last couple of years. So thanks for watching. Do check out our social media channels, and thank you and goodbye.